there's nothing wrong with putting a highlight reel. That's what you have to do. Like you have to. If you won't do it, who will do it?
No one else is going to do it for you. And if they do, they might, represent you in a light that you don't want to be represented in.
So they only want to broadcast what people want to see, but you got to know social media ain't fake. People talking to themselves positively isn't fake. It's just how you talk to yourself and how you continue to do more things. A friend of mine, well, I was looking at another guy, and he says like musicians and especially like rappers, they got it right. You know what I mean? Because it's like, what do they do? Look at my chain. Yo, you ain't this. I'm that. You this. You suck at this. I'm the best at that. I got the Bentley. I got this. You ain't got that. I'm this. And everybody's like, yo, man, look at this dude. But he's just speaking it into the air. All right, everybody, welcome back, Gerard.
Hey everyone, it's Sarah.
And then it's getting late in the year. Actually, it's getting beginning of the year, school year.
School year. Next week, everybody goes back. I'm excited.
I always say Happy New Year when I see parents. And they look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, yo, man, it's a new year.
That's true.
It's a new school year.
That's true.
So it's like, it's pretty cool because you can see people you haven't seen in a while. Kids get big, all this kind of good stuff. But today, we got a couple things we want to talk about. But one thing in particular is like, we picked up, not a new hobby, but we've been reading more.
And we love it. It's really good. It's fun.
Yeah, so we got a membership too. I mean, not a membership, but basically, they condescend. They convinced us into getting like, get 10% off of this or 20% off that and stuff like that. So we get books, trying to make it part of our day to read. There's a constant theme that I see in a lot of these books, and it's like how you talk to yourself,
right, and how you tell your story, and how other people tell their stories.
Yeah. So really, it's like we talked about it before. It's like self-talk, like what do you say to yourself? And like nobody will convince you of what to believe other than yourself. And it kind of makes sense where like you see people that always say, some people look at it as cocky and some people look at it as like they're arrogant, but really you're just speaking into the existence.
Exactly. And you really want to tell your story instead of letting somebody else tell it. Don't you think so?
Yeah. So you want to tell people how you feel and how you want yourself to be portrayed. Because if not, people are going to make their own, assumptions and tell it for you. Right.
Exactly.
So you might as well do it the way you want to do it instead of letting somebody else tell it for you. And a friend of mine, well, I was looking at another guy, he says the same thing. Right. And he says like, I'll just talk about it. I mean, like they said, like musicians and especially like rappers, they got it right. You know what I mean? Because it's like, what do they do? Look at my chain. Yo, you ain't this. I'm that. You this. You suck at this. I'm the best at that. I got the Bentley. I got this. You ain't got that. I'm this. And everybody's like, yo, man, look at this dude. But he's just speaking it into the air.
I was thinking back when our older two were high schoolers, there was a rapper that came out and she was just immediately talking about herself as the best and the queen. And I'm like, she just came out. What is she talking about? But my kids were like, no, like she worked hard to where she had, got to where she was. And they told me her backstory. And I just thought that was kind of cool. Like you definitely have to be the one to set the standard when it comes to telling your story. And they do get it right.
And the professional athletes too. Like, oh man, that wide receiver, he's cocky. He's a diva, this and that. Yo, man, can't nobody guard me, this and that. If he walked around and said, all right, you know what it was? I was reading this thing, and they were talking, and they interview these quarterbacks, right? They interview these athletes, and there was like a controversial statement because the quarterback said that we're going to win 10 games this year, and everybody's like, "Oh, how would he say that? What is he going to say, that he's going to lose every game?"
Right.
Like, what do you think he's going to say? It's a dumb question.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know how they ask half the questions they ask, but no, that is true. Just setting people up, letting them know who you are, what you do, and just really owning what you've accomplished, right?
Yeah. So, and then, we were talking about it before too, is like, you say like what you've accomplished, what you've done. And then you're not telling people, you're not being cocky, not being arrogant. You're just saying what it is. And you were reading something about like, what is it? Like humble, like the modesty thing, like when you basically deflect compliments.
Yes. Yeah. Deflecting compliments, not really letting people know your achievements, and then them having to hear it from somebody else. It kind of demotes you in a way.
So she was reading
subconsciously.
I'll tell you what it was. So you were reading a book, and it was like some lady was saying that she went to school on the West Coast.
Yes.
I
She
went
would
to
tell
school on the West
everybody
Coast.
all the time she just went to school on the West Coast, when the reality was,
She freaking went to Stanford, right?
like, why wouldn't you tell somebody that? But she was really scared of just not, making people feel less of themselves because of the things that she's accomplished.
Yeah, and I used to do it in my work areas, and we used to do this thing, like, and this is like warehouse stuff, right? And we used to do this thing, and my boss, he's probably gonna remember this. So it's 3 shifts: first shift, second shift, third shift, and the third shift was like it was the hardest shift because it was like basically it closed out the day, and so the second shift would be on the building, and he would get on the radio and say, "Clear the field, JV, clear the field. The varsity has arrived." And they would get so mad because they're like, "Yo, man, we're not JV managers and supervisors, but we were the varsity." So we would show up, and we used to have like these tackle boxes, like, where you go fishing in. And that's where we used to like carry like our scanners and all that stuff. And we come down with our like night shift shirts on and have our tackle box and be walking through. Arrogant as I don't know what, in even the warehouse world. But we had this air about us that we were better than everybody else, which we weren't. But we felt like we felt like, hey, look, we've arrived. Even in working in a warehouse. So like, I just thought about that. So what's cool about this is like, I carry a lot of this stuff in my head, and she's never really heard it because like nobody wants to hear about that stuff. But then now we start talking about it. It reminds me of like some of these stories that happen like that. But yeah, so like even with your team, all right. So like even with like your business, right? You got to say you're the best out there.
Right. I mean, even in our meetings, like we have a Chick-fil-A quote unquote standard where we're like, we need to be the Chick-fil-A of drop-ins. So we do have that standard. We do really try to measure up to it. But if, if we're not out there letting people know who we are and what we do, then there's really no way that we are going to be able to get ourselves out there in the way that we need to.
No, and somebody's going to make the opinion for you. Like, oh, no, they're not that good. They don't deliver this level of care, and they this and that.
Exactly.
But if you start telling the narrative, then other people will start tearing another narrative. And on the flip side, look at some of the negative people or some of the people that in your life that you're like, yo, man, like, who's this dude? Well, he's telling everybody he's the greatest.
Right.
And then they're telling people, and then everybody's like, yo, man, this guy's great. You ever work with him? No, he's a great guy. Because that dude's done spread the comment that he's a good guy to all the people.
He's great to work with. He's a great guy, but really,
it's his story.
Right.
You
If you
haven't
get
done
down
anything.
to it, like, where did you hear that from? Nobody knows where they heard it from, right?
And that's okay because I look at it like, yo, man, touche, right? You've created the narrative of yourself of what it is and what you're doing. You ever see like these new, like when a new business comes out or a new restaurant, we're the greatest, and you don't even opened yet.
I know, best pizza ever, right?
Best crabs in Pasadena. Best coffee in New York.
Yes, yeah, and you remember that stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's all marketing. It's how you market your business, and it's how you market yourself.
Yep, there was, we just had a cousin recently visit us, and she was like, oh, we really got to go to this restaurant. You get to do all these fun things. And we're like, oh, well, who told you about it? Well, she saw it on TV, right? So they marketed themselves so that when she came from another state to Nashville, she had to go to this restaurant.
8 minutes down the road. Never heard of the joint.
Fun.
It was a good time.
Fun.
I ain't never heard of it. It's 8 minutes down the road. She flew in from Durham, North Carolina, talking about this great place.
Yep.
And we had a great time. I'm
Yeah.
going to go back.
And it's all because of the story that you tell, right? So you think people are going to notice, oh, they're the ones always talking about themselves. They're not going to remember who told you. They're just going to remember what they told you. So that's why it's really important to tell your story.
Yep. And then it's important what you tell yourself, too. Because think about this, right? Think about this. Even in sports, right? All right, so for those of you who have played sports or that have been involved with sports, when you start saying, don't mess up, you've messed up. Like, it's just like when somebody's shooting free throws, right? And then you can see him and they're like, don't miss. I'm like, yo, he's missed. The kickers, keep people who free throws, baseball. You can tell, like I can tell, especially with kids, because you can tell, like, you can just see the body language and the confidence. So whatever you tell yourself, you may not do it, but if you tell yourself you're not, you're definitely not.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Like just like I said in baseball, like, oh man, I hope I don't strike out. You've struck out before they even thrown the first pitch.
Yeah, and on that note, with sports and athletes and people posting their stuff on Facebook about their kids, you know, some people look at it as that guy, he's always bragging about his kid. It gets on my nerves. But on the other hand, when people go to think about that kid, they're thinking about everything that the dad had posted and put out there. So they're going to know his accomplishments. They're going to know her accomplishments. And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with being a cheerleader for everybody. There's nothing wrong with putting a highlight reel talking about how that's what you have to do. Like you have to. If you won't do it, who will do it?
No one else is going to do it for you. And if they do, they might, you know, represent you in a light that you don't want to be represented in.
Yeah, you see it all the time. Where it's like, oh man, this kid is this and this kid is that, because there's no other film, there's no other footage on the guy, right? So just like we were talking about, even when like social media, right? Let's talk about that. So what you tell yourself and what you put into the universe is what it is. So people, they talk about social media as fake.
I was a big proponent of that.
It's not fake. It's real.
Right.
It's real, but it's a highlight reel. It is what you want people to see.
Right.
Gerard, it's not, they don't show you all the times that they did this and they failed at that. They don't do that because, like, all right, let's just talk about like the high school recruiting thing. Putting together film. Got 2 kids playing Division I sports, 1 trying to go in right now, and 2 more trying to go. We're working through it right now. We got to put film together. Got to put highlight reels together. We're putting the best plays.
Right.
We're not going, you know what I think Coach wants to see? Let's show Coach all the times that we fumbled and kicked the ball out of bounds. Let's have let's make sure that we include that into the highlight reel. Why would you do something like that? It would be stupid to do that. So why would you take the best moments that you have and highlight them? What I mean by it's not fake is those things happen. Those things are real. It's not the whole picture. They don't see the struggle. You don't see the fails. You don't know what's in their bank account. You don't know any of those things.
Right.
But that's not what they're telling you.
Right. And they don't have to prove that to you.
They don't have to prove any of that. They're not putting that out there. So don't get mad.
You can't be mad.
And don't be mad. And don't be
like I used to be.
I tell her all the time. I'm like, yo, why are you getting mad at what they're putting out into the universe? They're just telling you what you want to see. I said, look, perfect example. Same thing. She runs a business. There's another person runs a business. They post all this stuff, right? And she's like, oh my God, they're this and they're that. I'm like, yo, man, we do the same thing. They have to know the same. There's no way it's rainbows and unicorns.
Right. And they're sitting there telling their story. And that's what I'm seeing. And that's what they're projecting. And I'm not telling my story because I was very, not anti-social media, but it was hard for me to jump on the bandwagon, you know? He just jumped right in on the bandwagon.
Because I understood, because here's the thing. I have not been doing social media for a long time. I got the 18th, July the 18th. I got a notification saying that I had like the anniversary of like 300 friends.
Oh.
I'm like, man, how did I become friends with all of them on Facebook on the same day? It's because that's the day I signed up. 2018. I had no social media. I was talking to football coach 2 days ago. And he was talking to the kids about the dangers of social media and what you put out into the universe and how it can be held against you and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, man, for me, it was easy all the way up to 2018 because my company, the companies I work for, you post something crazy, you get fired. So guess what I did to make sure I didn't post anything crazy? I didn't have social media, period. That was it.
Yep.
And I missed out on a whole bunch of stuff. So when I got it in 2018, I'm looking at it and I'm watching people, what they post. I'm like, oh, I get this. This is just like a highlight reel of like what's going on. Nobody's going to post that they got a flat tire and was late and got oil in their clothes today. I mean, I do.
Some people might post that, but yeah.
I mean,
I don't know where I was going with that.
I do it. I do it sometimes too because you want to show some people. Some people, you got to look at it like this. You have some people post nothing but highlights. Some people post nothing but bloopers. Some people post a mix of both.
That's you.
And because I don't really care, because I know when I look at your social media and you talk about how you have it all together, it ain't the truth. You go through the same struggles as I do. You may do better at managing it than me, but I know that. So I know that there's gaps between the highlight reel. I know that you're not going to score. If everybody's highlight reel was like the 100% of their lives, everybody would be winning. And then there's a whole lot of people that just look at the social media and consume it, and then they fill in the blanks. So it's okay. But we say all that to say is like, it's important what you tell yourself. It's important. And I have a hard time with it. I struggle with it. Like I get into these slumps where I'm like, oh man, I got this going on. But then when I tell you all the time, when I feel myself falling into like this loser talk, I'm like, oh man, I gotta pull myself out of this. And then things start to happen. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And I mean, you think about a lot of these, there's some people that I could name that I'm not going to, where their social media just kind of misrepresented who I thought they really were. And I'm like, okay, so they were able to tell their story on a social media platform that may or may not have been necessarily true, or even in person. I feel like you can do it in person as well. But I mean, they are successful, even though it might be a flat out lie or misrepresentation, and they're successful because they're the ones telling their story and setting themselves up for that success. And so there's nothing wrong with telling your own story, right?
Yep. So tell your own story.
Yeah.
Tell yourself, talk nice to yourself. Don't talk bad to yourself. Talk nice to yourself. Tell your story. And because if you don't tell your story, somebody else is going to tell it for you.
Right.
So you might as well put out there what you want people to hear.
And I feel like sometimes social media is an escape for people who might be going through some stuff and they want to see all those positive things and they want to hear people celebrating stuff.
Yeah. So then sometimes I know that, I'll post some things, and then you too will post some things that like you want people to see, and then people want to see that too. But then sometimes I post stuff like, you post something that is probably not something you should put on social media and say, hey, who can relate to this? And then like 100 people will be like, yo, man, my kids throw the forks in the garbage can too.
Right.
You see what I'm
and
saying?
we didn't know that was the thing until you did that.
Oh, I knew that was a thing.
I didn't know that was the thing.
There's a thing. There's no way. Because that's the thing. There's no way that out of all the people we know that have kids the same age as us do not buy forks and they all end up gone. There's just no way. We have to be doing the same thing. There's no way that our kids leave the shoes all over. I'll take a picture of the laundry room. You put a whole note together and all the directions on how to do the laundry, and they don't listen.
They don't even look at it.
They don't even look at it.
Or you'll put the shoes on the stairs and in hopes that they'll just kind of grab it as they're going up.
They step right over it.
They're not going to pick those shoes up.
So what we're saying here is, we know that when you just post your highlights, you're just posting the highlights, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. Just like when we go to people's house, like for a party, right? I'm like, oh my God, their house is immaculate. It's just so we're coming over for a party. You come over there on Tuesday night at 4:00 when they're doing homework. It probably looks like everybody else's lived-in house, unless they got a problem.
Right.
So they only want to broadcast what people want to see, but you got to know social media ain't fake. People talking to themselves positively isn't fake. It's just how you talk to yourself and how you continue to do more things.
Right. And don't be afraid to tell your story.
Yep.
Your way. And it's not bragging. It's not gloating. Because like I said, the majority of the time people are not going to remember who told them. They're just going to remember what you told them. And
then when it comes down to it, just remember, yo, man, I'm this. You ain't that. Look at my chain. Look at my shoes. Yo, my watch. Yo, man, my Rolly this. My diamonds on my neck.
That, but yeah,
and it's a blah, blah, blah.
That's easier for you.
I'm not doing that. I'm just saying. That's what they do. And everybody's like, yo, man, what is he talking about? Man, He's like, man, my car, my whip, and I'll do this in my car. You know, I rap the best. You don't want to get me flowing in this joint.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. Be nice to yourself because nobody else is. And be kind and listen to us next time. We will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.